Welcome, welcome, everyone. My name is Courtney Scott. I'm the Deputy of Impact for Cities United. We are going to go ahead on and start our roll call. We officially get started very, very soon. We see so many of you that are joining us today. We are really excited to kick off 2026 and start off our monthly roll calls. It's our time for our network to connect, share, and build. And we're excited to kick off this year, of course, with an address from our Executive Director, Mr. Anthony Smith. But let's see who is in the room and who we have. We have Milwaukee representing in the House, Memphis, Tennessee, Greensboro, a couple of Greensboros, Brooklyn Park, Washington State, Kankakee, Illinois, Atlanta, Georgia, Louisville, Kentucky, Greensboro again, Saginaw, Michigan, Atlanta, Hampton, VA, Baton Rouge, Cleveland, Montgomery, Pittsburgh, Ohio, Michigan. I'm scrolling through so many folks. St. Louis, Chicago, Cincinnati, Baltimore is in the building. Charlotte is in the building. More folks from Louisville. Chicago is in the building. Milwaukee, 414 Life, we see you. Durham, North Carolina. Austin, Texas. Cleveland. Yorktown, VA. Lexington, Fort Wayne. Okay, we see so many people here. Moore, Ohio. Raleigh, North Carolina. Fayetteville, North Carolina. Newport News is in the building. Houston, Texas. Sacramento. I think we are touching all over the globe. I have definitely touched every region that is here. So again, please make yourselves comfortable in the chat. This is your space that is here for the network. And we're going to go through a few housekeeping rules just to share some information. This is an interactive conversation in our network calls. It is no different than when we are on the ground together. So we have a few polls that will pop up, and we would love it if you will interact and engage with us in those polls, and of course, keep the conversations going. We're going to start off with our first poll while I go through our housekeeping rules. Of course, we invite you to please stay engaged in the chat. If you have questions, you should be able to raise your hand. We'll be able to upgrade you to be able to ask questions and engage. I see the poll popped up on my screen, so you should have it on yours. Let's go to the awesome team working behind the scenes to make this thing interactive. So if you answer your questions, you will be able to engage. So we will be able to answer any questions that you have in the chat. Our hosts and our panelists are watching and looking at those, so we'll address those. You can also raise your hand and we'll be able to upgrade you to be able to ask those questions and engage. And of course, our common principles here as a network is to always respect each other's opinions, respect each other as a field. And that's just something that we have to offer. But we know this is kinfolk. We are always making sure that we are wrapped in love and support when it comes to CU. So we're going to dive in. And without further ado, I want to turn it over to our Executive Director, Mr. Anthony Smith. Anthony?
Hey, thanks, Courtney. Good to see all of y'all joining from all over the country as we do this work. It's good to see the familiar names and new names, and we're looking forward to another amazing year of partnership with you all. We're going to spend some time talking about highlighting some of the stuff from last year, but also talking about where we're going into 2026. And if you think about 2025, it could be framed in a lot of ways. It was challenging. It was rough. It was tough. We at times didn't know where things were going and where they were coming from. But I think one thing that was truly sure to me and us at Cities United is that you all were committed to the work. We were able to see a lot of that on the ground, a lot of that at convenings and other gathering places is that the work did not stop, the work did not pause, the work did not hinder, even with all the challenges and the cuts and things that we saw, right? So I want to make sure that we lean into, as Courtney talked about, the love that we all have for the work and the mission and the vision that we all work to get together. So that's where we want to start this conversation with. The next slide. I don't know who's running the slides. Spending some time just talking through our vision and our mission and our principles, but then also highlighting some of the work that happened in 2025 as a not just at Cities United, but as a network. As you all know, the way that we move, we know that we can't get anything done without partnerships. and in relationships matter in the work that we do and how we move our work forward. So one of the things I would love for you all to do in the chat, I see you all have been in there letting us know who you are and where you're coming from. Talk about some of the stuff that you guys were excited about last year. Like what moved, what's some of the work that you're proud about, that you're excited about, that you got to do last year? Because there's a lot that happened at CU that I'm proud about, that I'm excited about, and that I think built the foundation for us to move forward, right? So just make sure you add that into the frame as well. And as you see folks putting their stuff in, if you want to connect to folks, make sure you do that as well. Get people's information and all of those good things so that we can stay connected, right? Because again, this is bigger than CU. We are a small but mighty team, but we are always better together when all of us are working in partnership. So just making sure that you all connect with each other as you all move your work forward. So our mission and vision is where we center our work and where we do our work at. So for us, we keep this ideal of our vision is to create safe, healthy, and hopeful communities for all young Black men and boys and their families. And when we show up in communities, that's what we lean into. That's what we work on. We also know that in some communities that shifts and changes based on the population. But at our core, our work is about safe, healthy, and hopeful communities for young Black men and boys and their families, right? So I wake up every day understanding that that's the vision and the mission and where we're headed, and that we can get there. My hope and my belief is that we can get there as a country and as a world to really create different spaces for our young Black men and boys and their families. Next slide. And our mission is to support a national network of mayors and other local leaders who are committed to building out comprehensive public safety ecosystems that are designed to reduce community violence, its impact on young Black men and boys, while also creating new pathways for them to thrive. I was with Dr. Bell, one of the founders of Cities United, at the top of the year for his annual meeting at Casey Family Programs. And he talked a lot about they do a bunch of work around child welfare system. And one of the reasons he was very interested and supportive of Cities United from the beginning is that his thought is what good does it do them to do the work that they do of getting young men out of child support and out of the child welfare system, and then they end up dead on the streets, right? So how do you create communities that are safe, healthy, and hopeful for all folks, even those who got to return home from child welfare system, return home from jail, return home from wherever? How do you make sure that that community is safe for them and make sure that it's healthy for them and hopeful for them? And that's what our work is all about. And at CU, we take a system-wide approach. You'll never hear us just talk about one thing because not one thing is going to solve this issue and not one thing is going to create safe, healthy, and hopeful communities for our folks, right? So we'll have a holistic, comprehensive, system-wide approach to this work is the way we frame it and the way we talk about it and what we're asking jurisdictions to build, because everybody has a responsibility to play when it comes to creating these safe, healthy, and hopeful communities for young Black men and boys. Next slide. And when we think about our work again, this is about public safety redefined. We know that public safety, currently the way it's defined in textbooks and in communities and in budgets, is not helpful to our communities. It's more harmful, it's more reactive, and it's not really thinking about how do we create safe, healthy, and hopeful communities for our young Black men and boys. So when we talk about our work, it really is around this ideal of safety as the interrupting of the cycle of violence, the CVI work that a lot of you all on this call lead and support and move forward, but also the healthy piece around how do we dismantle these systems of inequity that creates the environment for this violence to take place. We're also looking hopeful and long term around how do we build new infrastructures so that we can all, especially Black folks and those who are most impacted by community violence, can experience public safety differently. How do we invest our resources differently? How do we invest our time and energy differently so that we are having a better experience with public safety in this country? Next slide. Back, yeah. And you all seen this before. If you haven't seen this before, it means you haven't been around CU before. But this is what we believe the framework looks like, and this is how it works in partnership. And all of these pieces are working in partnership together. And some you see are in one place, but they also show up in other places. So again, this is the holistic approach for us when we think about what it means to have a safe, comprehensive public safety ecosystem and how things move. As you can see in the red, it's really where you're interrupting the cycle of violence, where the CVI ecosystem is, and where folks are really working on the front line to interrupt and make sure that that young person or that person who's at risk can get home safely, who can really make sure that they can live another day so that we can figure out and squash that beef for them. Then we start moving to this dismantling the systems of inequity. looking at our educational system, looking at our economy. How do we make sure that young people have access to people who are at risk, have access to livable wage jobs or businesses and other opportunities, boost their family support. One of the things we're really clear about is that you can't do this just with the person in front of you. They go home to families, they're connected to communities, and we've got to make sure that we're supporting the whole and not just one. And we spend a lot of time talking about expanding centered engagements, our healing centered engagement work, which you'll hear more about that later the next month from Kim and Arnita as we continue to build that work out. But then looking hopeful in this investment in new infrastructure, like really thinking about how each jurisdiction spends their money and what does that money go to, and how do we make sure that it's going toward the things that we know that truly keep us safe, healthy, and hopeful. Next slide. So by the numbers, like we look, just so you all understand what our year is. Our year starts October 1st and go through September 1st through October the 30th. So you'll see us talk about 2024 to 2025 numbers. You won't see October of last year, November and December, the work that we did there. So you won't see the convening in there, but you'll see the year before that convening. And this just talks about what we did and who we engaged and how much time we spent on the ground and with people, right? So 800 plus hours of coaching and capacity building. We've engaged over 600 leaders, both elected and appointed officials from across the country, 222 hours directly in mayor and city council engagement. A big part of our work is making sure that those who have access and authority over the budgets and those things understand what this work is and support this work in a different way. We visited over 35 jurisdictions and engaged in different kind of ways, which means we've been all across the country multiple times in people's communities in your backyard. 11 cities. You hear more about the Leading the Way tour. We visited 11 of those 35 cities. Were part of the Leading the Way tour. We invested over $3 million. That's hard dollars and time and energy of the organization. But a lot of it was investing dollars in community-based organizations, investing dollars into young folks, and also investing dollars into Black-owned businesses on the ground in the communities that we work in. One of the things that won't show up on here that I'm really excited to think about and see what we can do with it later is that we was doing the Leading the Way tour. One of the things that we do is we hire local talent to document that, do pictures and videographies. And one of the things we realized as we were looking at that is we've identified over the last, I think, 12 cities that we visited, 12 young Black men who are behind the camera helping to tell the story. And as we all know, getting the story around, see us, this work is important, but also to have it done by those who have lived experience, come from the communities, is very important as well. So trying to think about Courtney and her team are thinking about how do we partner with these young men? How do we continue to engage them so that they can continue to tell the story, not just in their jurisdiction, but beyond, because we think it's important as we continue to move the work forward. We hosted in partnership and by ourselves 13 webinars. And then also we engage over 340 hours of young leader engagement. And you all know, if you've been around Cities United, how important that is to us to make sure that young, especially young Black men or boys, are at the table, not only just at the table, but helping to lead the work, guide the work, but also being paid for their time, right? So we got to make sure not only that we bring young men to the table or young people to the table, but we pay them for their time, pay them for their energy, and pay them for their brilliance as they bring this work together, right? Because I tell folks all the time when we're in the community, there's not too many meetings you go to that you're not on the clock. So why would these young people not be on the clock as well? So how do we make sure we take care of them as we do the work? So that's our next slide. This is 2024, 25 out of the numbers. As you can see where we showed up at and what we've done on the ground. Again, the orange ones, the jurisdictions that you see in the orange are the ones that that were part of the tour. But we went to a lot of places. Some of these places are our home, but we still do work where we live. A lot of these places we are like legacy cities. When you think about Philadelphia, they've been around us for a long time. They were one of the founding cities as we do this work. Our CAPS work and different partnerships that we're a part of took us to some of these places in some of these cities. If you look at Brooklyn Park, Minneapolis, and Brooklyn Center, I think they're all on here. That was a part of our local Officials United work that you all will learn more about, that Paul and our team is leading. So really just trying to make sure that we're in community, we're building with community, we're learning, we're sharing, and we're bringing that stuff back to each other as we move the work forward. And as you can see in in King County, We were there on the ground with them as they did their Together to End Gun Violence conference. It was the first conference I've ever been where they brought all frontline workers and all first responders together to have a conversation. Like they brought EMT, fire, police, and CVI frontline workers together to say, how do we work better together in partnership to create safe, health, and hopeful communities? I think there's a lot of energy and things that we can all learn from that. And as Luther and her team continues to build that stuff out, you'll see we've been in Austin. I'll be in Austin tomorrow. They're releasing their phase one document around One Safe Central Texas. They have been doing amazing work over the last 5 years. Arnita was able to go present to council, and council was able to move some more dollars to this work. It was because of the local leadership and our support. It's not because CU was there. It's because the local leaders, ATX Peace and others, really moved that work forward. Then Lexington, Kentucky, who has been doing amazing work under Divine's leadership, been seeing significant reductions, but also seeing new pathways for young people to thrive. They just updated their comprehensive plan at the end of last year. We spent some time in DC, especially around when they deployed the federal agencies, working with Protect CBI, with Amber and her team and others around helping to make sure that folks on the ground knew their rights, understood what it meant to be under this kind of scrutiny, so that they can get home safe and that they can continue to do their work. Like frontline workers were having a hard time figuring out how to still navigate in the midst of a federal deployment on in their city. And then lastly, Toledo, we've been doing some work there for the last 3 years, and you'll see that they too have released their comprehensive public safety strategy, had it approved by council, and are now really moving that work. So you should be able to go online and see some of these plans. I know Lexington and other places, and I think we'll have a slide later where you can pull them as well. Next slide. A big part of the work is building infrastructure and educating folks, right? So we know that, you can't do this work without both of these. You can't move an agenda without the right infrastructure. So one of our jobs is and responsibility is helping folks build out their infrastructure so that the work can move, but also educating folks on what it is, how it needs to be invested in, and what it means to really fully support frontline workers. So we spent some time with community justice and other folks around doing a day of advocacy in Louisiana. Then also we talked about so it was a day of action, and there was a community justice held their big day in DC, but also had other cities support that work, and one was in Louisiana on that day as well. You can see it Protect CVI. If you don't know much about CVI, Protect CVI, there's a website where you can go on. In April, we happened to be in Austin, Texas again when the federal cuts came. We were on the ground with Amber Goodwin, who runs the CVI Legal Network. And we quickly decided and moved to say, how do we start pulling folks together to talk about this issue around the loss of resources, but also advocate for those resources back and do other things that make sure and raise more dollars. So Protect CVI has been a thing that we've been working on since April. It wasn't on our radar, but it became a part of the work because, again, part of our work is to make sure that we are advocating not just for CU, but for the field. And that work happened there. And again, you can see where Arnita was at Austin to talk to the council. And lastly, one of the things that we have really started working on and moving is this idea of merging Young Leader Advisory Council coming out of Milwaukee. I'm sorry. Lost my slides.
Yep, stand by just one moment. I think Double M had internet challenges.
Got you. But anyway, one of the things we learned on the tour and in Milwaukee's moving there is that a lot of folks have not truly integrated young leaders into their work. And we see a lot of folks moving there. So you'll see it happening in Milwaukee with their young leader council that they're looking to build out and move. Toledo has one coming in that they're working on and building up. And just really trying to move the work. And one of the things also coming out of the Protect CBI work is there's a group of emerging leaders who have come to the table and really are making way and moving the work forward on their own way. So you'll hear more about that as we build out the work over the year. But Alicia has joined our team. But there's a whole crew of emerging leaders in the country who have come together to really own the building of this work and making space for themselves. Waiting for the slides to come up. There we go. Next slide. And again, just talking about more engagement, part of the work for us is like we can't be everywhere and in every city. So we also got to create virtual spaces for folks to come together, learn, and share best practices. So as you can see, we did 13 and then we partnered with other folks to do 11. So there was a lot of space on the ground and online for folks to come together as we thought about what happened in 2025 and preparing for 2026. And our theme last year, and I think a lot of you all have heard this too, was leading the way, highlighting what's working across the country. Next slide. So a big part of the job for us too is thought leadership, showing up in places, being on panels, being at conferences and convenings, not only just hosting our own, which we do every year, and you'll hear more about that in a minute, and excited about that as well. But we showed up, and we show up in places, and as always, trying to make sure that we are a part of the conversation, not just to be in the room, but to really push and guide and make sure that folks are paying attention to the things that we need them to pay attention to. One of the things I tell the team all the time is say what you need to say in rooms. I'd rather correct stuff than you leave a room and not say what you need to say. And I think that's part of Cities United's role, is to also be not just a thought partner, but an accountability partner and a pusher in the work. Because we've got to get this right for our young folks and for the future of this world. Next slide. Comprehensive public safety plans, that's the thing. We think every jurisdiction, whether you're a city, state, or county, should have a comprehensive plan that guides your work, that supports your work. And we've been pushing that over the years, and cities are saying yes to that and moving. One of the things that tomorrow with One Safe Central Texas phase one coming out is mean they're going to have their comprehensive plan moving out in June is their goal, right? They want to push and get that out by June. So we're going to really be working hand in hand with them to get that there. But you can see in 2024, Baton Rouge dropped their plan. The state of North Carolina, Baltimore had an updated plan. 2025, Greensboro released their plan. We were just on the ground with Letitia that you'll hear from a little bit later. Lexington updated their plan, and then Toledo's plan dropped. One of the things I think you will see, and a lot of these plans, is peace is the way. People are looking to create peace for communities, peace in communities, and give folks a pathway to peace. So you'll hear a lot of that and see a lot of that. We're going to be on the ground in Newport News soon. Sunita and her team are just ready to just drop their plan, and that's going to be an exciting piece for that too. So next slide. You can check them out if you can go back so they can get that QR code real quick. You can go to our website there and you can download these plans. And you can call the team if you're looking to build your own out. We're looking to support folks as you do that as well. All right, next slide. Go ahead, Corey.
We also dropped the link to the plans and all the links that you see here in the chat too.
Cool, thank you. Crisis response. Last year was a lot of crisis. This year started out with some crisis. And although, again, the theme for us is not crisis, we do got to be prepared and ready to respond. There's a book that I've given out to the team and a lot of other people called Crisis Contemplation, Healing the Wounded Village. It's a Reverend Barbara Holmes, if you're looking to buy it, you can download that book. It's just a great book to think about how we respond through crisis, how we move through crises, and how we take time to process. Because sometimes, we've got to move quickly, but we also want to make sure that we're moving right. So we spent some time in Greensboro, Lexington, and Toledo. You heard me talk about DC also already, in Louisiana, but Memphis also had to deal with the deployment of the National Guard and other federal police or law enforcement. We really, again, wanted to make sure that we have the right tools for folks. There's a guide that we created for folks who are experiencing that you can download as well, and really make sure that you can get to that. Can somebody drop the name of the book again, please? Thank you. Kirby just put it in the chat. But these are just places, and again, we all deal with crisis and we got to be prepared. And I think we have been at this work enough for a long enough time in this to start being better prepared for things, right? We weren't prepared for the cuts. We should have been better prepared for that. We've got to be as a field and as a network, start thinking through and start preparing for things, because when you get things right and people don't want you to get them right, that's when they come for you, right? So we've got to always remember that everybody doesn't see public safety the way we see it. Everybody doesn't want us to move in this direction. So we should always be prepared and ready for pushback and challenges. So I just want to make sure that we continue to understand that and move that work forward. Next, please. All right, before I do this, well, I'm gonna keep going and then I'll bring Brittany in a second. So post-election, like the week after the election, we I sat around like the day after and was really thinking about how could CU show up and what is it that we need to do. Spent some time talking to Brittany, and we came up with this idea of the Leading the Way tour. Uh, the Leading the Way tour for us was a way for us to engage on the ground with communities that we have been in relationship with for a long time and really think about how do we go on the ground, lift up their work, share what we know about their work, learn more about their work, but also invest in the community itself, right? So we wanted to invest not just in the organizations who are doing the work, but also the young people, as I talked about to you all earlier, but also the vendors. Because also last year was a challenging time for a lot of folks around not just funding, but also keeping businesses afloat, right? So we really wanted to make sure that we came in and we invest. So we identified 20 jurisdictions in our network that we are going to visit. We started in April. We'll end at the end of this April. So Kirby and I are going to be busy for the next couple of weeks because we're just going to be all over the place. But again, the goal was is to really be on the ground for 3 days, but really uplifting the work, uplifting the people who are doing the work, and have hard conversation around how do you move your work forward? Like, how do we get to the next phase? How do we get to the next place? But every jurisdiction we visited, we invested $40,000 in grants. We provided stipends, $500 stipends to 15 young people on the ground. We identified vendors, black vendors, wherever we could, and made sure they took care of our food, our transportation, our t-shirts. We made this like a tour, so every stop has its own t-shirt. So you'll see us in different t-shirts from those communities. So we use a t-shirt, swag vendor, the videographer that I talked about earlier, caterers. It was just a really time for us to come in and really see. So we spent 3 days. We spent a lot of time talking to a lot of folks. We take a tour of that jurisdiction. We really want to go on a tour, and we ask the young people, are the folks who are setting up the tour for us, to take us on the tour and show us the assets of the communities that are impacted. We don't want to see all the doom and gloom. We know that stuff is happening. We know people are dying in the streets. But as I believe, and hopefully you all believe, every community has assets and everybody has something that we can celebrate. And if we celebrate those things, then they become the norm and we can see more of those things. So really looking at how we go into a community, we host a ecosystem meet and greet. And what we've learned that this, we just don't make the time for us to come together. Like when we come into you, people should not have to wait for us to come for them just to have a meet and greet and with hors d'oeuvres and cocktails and just hang out and talk to each other. But we also do a community-based dinner where we bring the community together. Young people get to report out, people get to hear what's going on. And most of the jurisdictions we've been in, we've talked to about 150 to 200 people. And people get this work, they understand this work, they want to be lean into this work and really want to be partners with us in this work, right? So it's been an amazing ride. And we've got seven more cities to go, and we're looking forward to doing those cities. We're going to bring those cities together at the end of June in Milwaukee in partnership with the com county executive and spend some time on the ground. So we'll have more for you all in June as we move that work. So Leading the Way has really moved us, engaged us in a different way, given us space to really build new relationships and build stronger relationships. So you'll see us to continue to work with these 20 cities that we've been in so we can continue to move the work forward. Next slide. All right. And as we get into move into 2026 and we're really thinking about like what our theme for this year is, and one of the things I've been saying to the team is that there's so many moments that we need to maximize and take advantage of. So we came up with seizing the moment, enhancing the public safety ecosystem. And again, as you continue to hear us talk and see us do our work, we're really looking forward to redefining public safety, redefining those public safety ecosystems. And in 2026, it is right for us to take every moment to do that. What we learned last year on the tour and what we heard on the tour and what we saw on the tour is that there's way more people who are ready to change how we define public safety than there are people who don't. right? So we continue to lean into the people who are rocking with us and ready to roll with us and continue to educate them and support them and give them the tools that they need. One of the things that we constantly heard last year is just help us explain this to those who might be naysayers. So people want to be advocates for this work. People want to be ambassadors for this work. People want the right tools, and it's our job to equip them with what they need to have the conversation that they need to have. We are not going to get into every room that we need to get into. We're not going to be able to talk to everybody. So how do we prepare folks and get folks what they need to really move the work forward, right? So as you all see us move this work forward and you see us you'll hear us talk about seizing the moment. You'll hear us talking about enhancing public safety ecosystems. You'll also hear us talking about return on investment, right? Because we all got to get a return on these investments that we're putting out. And this is the year to get the return on investment, right? So we've got to be prepared and ready to move the work forward and not leaning into the things that are not going well, leaning more into the things that are going well and moving those things. I'm not trying to turn a blind eye to the issues because I know they're there, but they can't be the thing that guides our work every day. They can't be the thing that talks about that can't be how we lead our stories, where we got to lead our stories with hope, with love, with possibility because it's still there. And if we continue to see ourselves as part of the movement that has gotten our people to a good place and continues to move us forward, we know there's much more work to do, right? But we're a part of that continuum, right? When I think about our work as part of the legacy of the Black History movement, of the Black Power movement, and we just continue to move in that direction, and we gain and we grow and we keep moving, right? So we know that there's way, way, way more work to do. But I also think we should pause and celebrate successes and wins. And 2025 showed me that we've built strong infrastructure that folks can't tear apart. We have academies now, we have institutes now, we have all of these things that are up and running and supporting our folks. There's more to build, but let's not let folks take away from what we did build. Next slide. Or is that it? No. Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Anthony, before you turn it over to Jonathan, there are some questions that I think are relevant before you move on, but I'll wait until you're ready for those.
No. Let's go for it. Let's go.
Okay, awesome. So we have Kelsey Hines who's asking, who do you need buy-in from to create a city plan? Is it city officials or others?
City officials, community leaders, community people like you. Is it Kelsey? Is that what?
Yes.
Yeah, like Kelsey. Yeah, so we believe it's a cross-sectional table where you bring all folks to the table to build that out, right? So it's usually a convening body that's made up of a community member, a government body who comes together and convenes a cross-sector table and really push this agenda. So we can really talk more about it, but we want political will and public will to come together to move this plan forward.
Awesome. There's a question in the chat from Philip Leaf. Besides the cities already being networked, are there some opportunities for youth and young leaders in Baltimore to meet virtually or in person to share and network? This is something that Mayor Scott and Governor Wes Moore are very supportive of. And Wes, Philip, we do have your email, but I wanted to offer that question.
Hey, yeah, Philip. Baltimore is always on our short list. We spend a lot of time in Baltimore. Know Mayor Scott well and the team, and know that you all have a comprehensive plan that you all have been running. And I think it's time to update. But yes, we would love to reconnect. We've talked to Stephanie in the office before, just have not really solidified that partnership again. So open to it and really ready to go.
Okay, that's all that we have right now. I want to remind everyone there will be a Q&A at the end where you will be able to raise your hand and come off of mute and be able to share. But you can keep dropping your questions in the chat in between each section, and we'll go from there. Turning it back to you, Anthony.
And just to respond to, I see Dr. First Lady Gibson. We are coming to Hennepin County as part of the tour. So we will be in Hennepin County, and the main jurisdictions we work in Hennepin County are Minneapolis, Brooklyn Park, and Brooklyn Center. So we will be there and be there soon. I don't know what the dates are, but Kirby can drop them in, but I know we're coming soon. One of the things I did not do before I jumped right into this thing is I want to bring and one of the things you all know, for those who know us, our convening is very important to us. And for those who join these calls, we want to put you all in a special kind of raffle. So I want to bring Brittany on just to talk about what the raffle is. You all will hear about it again later today, but we just don't want you to just do this call. We want you to join us on all our roll calls. So Brittany, you want to talk a little bit about the what we're doing around the convening?
Yeah, thank you, Anthony. Hello, everyone, and thank you for spending the afternoon with us. I'm Brittany Hardy. I'm the Chief of Staff here at Cities United. And just as the theme for this year's Seizing the Moment, Enhancing Public Safety Ecosystems, that is also the theme for this year's convening, which you all know will be in Memphis, Tennessee this year. As you all know, Anthony is going to challenge us. So he's wanting 2,000 people there and present. So just looking through the participation in the chats, and then looking at the numbers fluctuating up for the participants that are here on the call, I want to make sure that all of you are there. So for each roll call that you guys are participating in, we will be raffling off a free registration ticket at the end of the call. So if you guys can make sure to stay on, and we'll do our best to choose the right person. And so I'll send it off to Jonathan.
Nah, let me jump in before John jumped. Whoever wins is the right person, B. So that's the goal. Like, so you need to be
That's
on the
what I
call to
meant.
win.
The winner is the right person. The winner is the right person.
So that's what's going to happen there. Also, y'all, before I turn it over to Jonathan, one of the things that we recognize at the end of the year is that we have not created while we focus on young Black men and boys and we talk about young Black men and boys in this work, and we know if you look nationally at the data, they're the most at risk of being impacted by community violence. CU did not have a specific approach internally to really build, connect, and create space for those young Black men and boys, right? So at the end of the year, we created a new department, and the department is a Black male achievement, and the really goal is to focus on that work. And we asked Jonathan to go over and lead that, and Andre to support that work. So with that, I want to turn it over to Jonathan McMillan to talk about the work and what that's going to look like. And then I believe there's another conversation he's going to have as well. So Jonathan, I'll turn it over to you now.
Hey, thank you, Anthony. Appreciate it. And welcome, everybody. Hello to all of my current friends and pleased to meet all my new friends on the call. For those of you who don't know me, I am Jonathan McMillan, and as Anthony said, I am the newly appointed, or the new director, a deputy of the Department of Black Male Achievement, a new department within Cities United. And I just want to take this time and space to say it's fitting that we are announcing this department during Black History Month, and it's such a privilege to work for Cities United and to be tasked with leading this arm of work, because as Anthony was saying as he's wrapping up his last piece, so often the narrative about our young Black boys, our young Black men and boys, is deficit based. And those of you who know my story know that during the time I came up, the narrative about young Black men we were an endangered species. And the story was that 1 out of 4 was going to fail in some capacity, whether that be prison or the graveyard. But we failed to talk about the other 3 out of those 4 and what achievement they were making and what support can we have for them, while also giving a little bit of extra support to that 1 out of those 4. So that's really my vision for the Department of Black Male Achievement. I don't know if someone's going to bring up my slides. We have identified some priorities for the department as it stands right now. It is still a department within development, and we're working on making sure that we're identifying the things within both internally and externally that we need to focus on to make sure that we are redefining what is in co-defining and in co-building what Black male achievement is for our young Black men and boys and their families. I would add that. So as of right now, we're looking at coordinating spaces for Black men, leading the work to thrive, collaborate, and heal collectively. That's looking at healing both physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. They're looking at the totality of what it means to be a Black male, a whole and healthy Black male. Engaging young Black men within our One City partnership. I want to shout out to Kobe Williams and the One City team. Those of you who came to convening last year were able to see something just magnificent, historical, where young men from 4 different cities from across the country, who are some of the young men who are at the highest risk of being involved or engaged or impacted by violence, they were on the court being competitive, being collaborative, building friendships, building a brotherhood amongst one another. Cities United has come in partnership with One City to begin to hopefully scale that and expand that, not only the games, but the philosophy that Black male achievement can look different in many different ways, or in many different ways, and that we're creating vehicles for young men to thrive both on the court, on the field, and outside of that as well. And then next is the develop and coordinate local and national spaces for young Black men and boys to achieve. Now, that achieve, again, that is a malleable word because achievement can look different for everybody, but we want to make sure that young men feel empowered, supported, inspired, encouraged, assisted to getting to whatever achievement looks like for them and their families. So I'm really excited to be a part and to have the opportunity to be a part of an organization that is unapologetically centering the focus on helping young Black men and boys and Black males achieve. To that end, one of the projects and initiatives of Cities United is the Rumble Young Man Rumble. So most of you know Cities United is the home for Cities United is Louisville, Kentucky, which also is the home of the Louisville Lip, the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. Y'all probably see it. Muhammad Ali has always been one of my idols. Have looked up to him almost my entire life, and he created a platform and a vision for young Black men to step into their greatness unapologetically. Some years back, one of my mentors, my friend, sits on the CU board, Sean Dove, with the Campaign for Black Male Achievement, initiated this annual convening called Rumble Young Man Rumble. Rumble Young Man Rumble was a mantra, an affirmation that Muhammad Ali and his corner man, his support system, Drew Bundini Brown used to say in the corner as a way to hype Ali up, keep him focused, keep him inspired into stepping into his greatness. So the Rumble convening has been over the years a gathering for Black men across the country to come together to step into our greatness, support each other, be one another's cornermen, and to build together into the next year. Last year, December 2025, we had the latest session of Rumble Young Man Rumble. The theme for this year or that year was rest in between the rounds, and it was really intentional about addressing the mental and emotional and spiritual and physical restoration of what we call our rumblers, the young men and the adults who bring them to the convening in order to give them what they need in order to go out there and continue to fight. So it's my pleasure to bring onto into this conversation 2 attendees of the Rumble. I have my man, Reverend Dr. Larry Mentor, Thomas, but we all call him Reverend Mentor, and then Cadet Dedrick Dunn. So in the framing of Rumble, we have our heavyweights, which may be traditionally considered our elders, but those are the ones with the experience. And then we have our flyweights, the young men who coming in to step into the ring and then also get some tutelage from the heavyweights and the middleweights. So with no further ado, I want to bring on Reverend Mentor and Mr. Cadet Dunn. How are y'all doing today?
Hey, brother, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Hey, I am doing great. I'm doing great. Are you ready to rumble?
I'm ready to rumble. You ready to rumble, Dedrick?
Hey.
Yes, sir.
Dedrick, you ready?
To rumble. Yes,
You
sir.
ready to rumble? All right. So I'm glad that y'all agreed to come on to the panel with us today. I have a couple of questions. I gave a little bit of background about what Rumble is, but Reverend Mentor, I want to ask you directly. You brought a bunch of young men to participate. Who did you bring, and why was it important for you to bring them to Louisville to participate in Rumble?
Hey, first of all, I want to thank you, Jonathan and Courtney, for coordinate this to make sure we were straight, and to the Cities United, of course, brother Anthony. Again, my name is Larry Thomas, aka Rev Mentor. I am the CEO at the Thomas Mentor Leadership Academy in the Triangle of North Carolina, which consists of Durham, Raleigh, and Chapel Hill, where we provide love, leadership, and guidance for young men 7 to 18 years old who are being raised by a single parent, single legal guardian, or they're being raised by their grandparents again. And once the young men come in our program at 7, they stay with us all the way to 18 years old. And once they graduate high school at 18, we put them in the alumni program. But to answer your question, Brother Jonathan, we reached out to bring young people, number one, for exposure. You get people, young men, out of their communities, and to let them know that life and opportunities are a lot bigger than what you're seeing in your community. Because most time, a lot of our boys are just seeing a lot of negative. And I like what Brother Anthony Smith said earlier. When we start talking about the greatness of the work that we're doing, a lot of times we always focus on the doom and gloom. But here at TMLA, we're writing our own narrative. We're starting out with the positive things that Black boys are doing, right? And so one of the things is every year going to the Ali Center and bringing these young men. All of these young men are tasked with, number one, doing some research on Muhammad Ali, and before they come to the conference. But once they get there, they see other boys from around the country who may be dealing with some of the same things they dealing with. And what we see is the presenters of at these summits, they make the boys feel welcome with the projects with the workshops about getting up out of their seats, going network. So I was glad to see our boys come back with they call it, I guess they call it socials, right? All the other boys social media sites and all those different things, and now they're sharing and playing these games with each other on on social media. But the biggest thing that I see is the awareness of what it is to put a young man on an airplane for the first time, fly him there to Louisville, and get to see the Muhammad Ali Center. I mean, that is phenomenal. A lot of them too young to know, but when they do the research and understand and go through the museum and understand that Ali was bigger than just boxing, and for them to see that and to come back and share that, that's phenomenal. And to come back and share their community, share with the boys that they go to school with. So that's why we bring them, so I can expose them to different things and let them know that life is bigger and positive than a lot of times what they're seeing in their local communities.
I thoroughly appreciated that answer, Reverend Mentor. Uh, and I want to expound on something. When you talked about the transformative travel element of bringing them out of their environment and bringing them to Louisville to participate in all of the different sessions and workshops and meet the other young men. Question for you, and I apologize, I didn't prep you for this question, but
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
What my 13-year-old son also attended last year, and the experience for him was so impactful. And one of the things that he really enjoyed was building community with his peers. With the young men that you brought, have you noticed if they have built community with each other, and if they're staying encouraged, keeping each other encouraged and inspired?
Yes, and here's the thing. Here we have a community, an organization where all some nonprofits who work with youth came together, and we call it collaboration, not competition, to where we share resources, we share a lot of things for the same people who's doing the work. But what we're finding out is all the different programs that we work with, all of our boys go to some of the same schools. Man, we were able to cut down on fighting. We were able to cut down on just stuff, because one boy may be in your program, one may be in mine, and they got stuff going on at school, and we talking amongst ourselves, right? and we say, hey man, let's bring these boys together, and we nip it in the bud. We have a relationship with the mediation center here, to where we're doing more than just talking. We're making impact. And here's the thing: we see these boys. I tell you, we see these boys coming back and sharing when they get back to the hotel at night, sharing, and boys are coming to you, man, and just tell, hey, Mr. Thomas, thank you for taking me, bro. And as an old cat myself, it makes you tear up, seeing that you have done something for these young boys, that you're leaving something for them. And then when they come back and talk to the other boys about it, say, man, y'all got to get there next year. Y'all got to get there. So that's what I see, is when they come back and they build community, they talk about the spaces, and so the boys stay connected. We have started all the boys who have come before. We've started a Rumble alumni within the community here. We started a Rumble alumni, and we're
That's
calling
amazing.
we're called the Carolina Rumblers.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, let's talk to one of the Carolina Rumblers. Seeing Mr. Cadet Dietrich Dunn, uh, amazing young man. I got a chance to talk with him a few times in Louisville. Very impressive young man.
Thank you, sir.
Cadet Dunn, I would love to hear your reflections and what were the parts that you liked the most about the experience of being at a Rumble Young Man Rumble.
Well, my experience at Kentucky, and specifically the Muhammad Ali Center, I was excited and nervous. I didn't know what to expect because this is my first time attending this event. And I know that I learned some very important speeches. There were a lot of presenters, and there were many people giving powerful information for me to interpret and influence. It influenced me because now I'm able to take those words, inspiring, encouraging words, and use them in my life. And we had a chance to hear other not panelists, we had a chance to hear other people share their experiences about being in an environment where they felt unsafe and they didn't have any support. And that was powerful. That really made me feel emotional because I know that not everyone is in a supportive environment where they can have all the access they need to technology, social information, and the same encouraging words you would hear as of someone else. So,
Well, that's good, Dietrich. I'm super curious from your perspective. How old are you?
I'm 15 years old.
15. So at 15, experience like this could sometimes maybe feel overwhelming, or it could be just what you need at the time. I'm curious about when you were there in Louisville with all these other young men and all these other adults who, were trying to give you what they thought you needed. What was your favorite part about it? What was a success for you as far as your time on the ground?
Success for me was hearing near the end of my time at the Rumble Young Man Rumble Convention Center was when were in a circle, and all the adults, or the men were around us. They were surrounding us in one circle, and they were telling us that we are here for you. We see you. We acknowledge you, and we will support you every step that you take. You have someone, even if you don't believe if you believe you are alone, you always have someone to look up to. There's someone that is watching over you at all times. And you shouldn't ever feel like you have to go through something by yourself. Because even if you think you're experiencing it by yourself, you're not the only one who has experienced it. So you should always think that in a positive situation, you know that there's people supporting you, even if they're not physically there with you.
Man, Dietrich, that was my favorite moment too. So I'm glad we shared that. I really appreciate that. So, quick question for both you and Reverend Mentor: what does Black male achievement mean to you? And say 4 words or less. What does Black male achievement mean to you? No, I'll give you a
Go ahead,
sentence.
Dietrich. You got the
Anthony's
mic.
laughing at me. I'm trying to keep it concise. Go ahead, a sentence or two.
Go
What is
ahead,
Black male
Dietrich.
achievement?
To me, Black male achievement is the success of underprivileged individuals
Mm,
who don't
that-
experience the same thing.
that's powerful. That's powerful. I love it. Success of underprivileged individuals. What was that last part?
Who don't have the same opportunities.
Message heard. I hear you. That now will become my mantra for Black male achievement. Thank you.
All
Reverend
right.
Mentor.
Well, I'm going to close it out. I do want to say this. Dietrich was one of the finalists for the Martin Luther King John Lewis Award for the last Martin Luther King event here in North Carolina. He was one of the finalists, and guess who beat him? He came in second, but his sister came in first. His
No.
sister won. His sister won. But I do want to say this, man, that it means to us what Dietrich said earlier, that these young men can look to us and know that they have a support system. That's what Black male achievement means to us when we write our own narrative here at TMLA. I tell everybody we the best male mentoring program in the country. We got boys who doing phenomenal things. We got boys on the A honor roll, AB honor roll. And it's not all academics. We got boys giving to their communities. We got boys volunteering at different events. We got boys showing up outside of sports. Outside of sports, we are showing up, and Black male achievement mean to us as we rise, we lift. As we rise, we lift. And then what we're going to do, we're going to get in a circle. We're going to wrap our arms around them and let these boys know that somebody care about me and they're not in this walk alone. And that's what it means to us, that we can keep impacting. We can, boys all across other countries. I got a call with Brother Lanier coming up. So the adults, we kept in touch with each other. So that's what it means. Impact, right? Impact, love, lift while you rise. That's who we are, man.
I love it. Well, thank you both for again agreeing to come on to come to the roll call and sharing your experiences. I think it's only fitting that we close this session of the roll call out with something that we all learned in Louisville. So I'm gonna say it, and y'all work with me. Rumble, young man, rumble.
Ah!
All right, handing it back to you all.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for that, Jonathan, Dietrich, and Rev Mentor. Always good to see y'all and hear y'all's voices, and looking forward to the next time we rumble together. So I appreciate you all for showing up and always showing out. We're going to move quickly into the next conversation. That's part of the Leading the Way tour and part of that conversation about the work that we've been doing there, the jurisdictions that we visited, but also folks who actually have developed and created their comprehensive plan. So I'm going to turn it over to Kirby, who's then going to introduce the two folks who are going to join her for this conversation. So excited to bring Kirby onto the conversation.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kirby Garrity. I am the Special Assistant to the Executive Director at Cities United. It is not easy to follow up that conversation. And Anthony, you took most of my talking points about the tour itself, but that's okay because I get to have a conversation with some amazing women this afternoon. But I will just say this, if you have not been with us on these calls or at our convening or at a tour stop, I encourage you to check out our social media pages, our website, our blogs, and learn more about the tour stops and all of what we have been able to learn and capture on the ground. Just want to thank all the people on this call who have supported our planning and doing all the work that we've done on the tour stops and have worked with us to make them great. We appreciate you. And to those of you that we're currently planning with, we are excited for what's ahead. And with that, I'll jump right in and just say that we're incredibly lucky to have Sanithia White the Community Violence Prevention Manager with the City of Newport News, Virginia, and Letitia McNeil, the Director of the Department of Community Safety in Greensboro, North Carolina, with us here this afternoon. So Greensboro and Newport News are the first two stops of the tour in 2026. We were just with Letitia and her team last month, and we're headed to Newport News next week. So before we get into the conversation about the tour, I just kind of want to start and give each of you a little bit of time to talk about the work that you've done recently to develop a comprehensive plan. So we'll start with you, Letitia. Can you just share a little bit about what it means for you to see your plan come to fruition, what it meant for you to build this plan with your ecosystem, and then also a little bit about what, some of the challenges that you saw as you built the plan over the last couple of years?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Kirby, for you all inviting me here to talk today about our plan. It was a work in progress. It was a labor of love. It was sometimes it felt like it had gotten forgotten, and other things were with competing interest on top of it, but we kept going and persevering. So when it was released in June, I was relieved and excited, and was, sharing it with everybody. So being able to have the plan out for people to read, for people to critique, for people to add input and know that it's a living document, to me was really powerful. And I look forward to us just implementing it and keeping the work going.
And challenges, any challenges you want to highlight?
Huh,
I know there are probably many you could highlight, but
yeah,
just
well,
maybe one or two.
So one of the things we talk about in our plan was like co-production, like the idea of doing things with people. Like we say, we don't want to do it for you or to you, we want to do it with you. And for some people, that was they didn't believe us, and then two, they'd never been asked. So a lot of times it was people sitting with, what does it mean to be safe to me? And not us giving them a one size fits all answer, because a lot of times they've been in situations where people will ask them what it means to be safe, but they've already defined what safety looks like for them, and that's not fair. So we were really intentional about asking, what does it mean to be safe to you? And then putting that information, into our plan. And I think it made it look a little bit different in terms of like the idea of holistic safety, being safe with my wellness, my mental health, being sheltered, having pathways to be able to do something different. All of those things incorporated into the plan was because that was what the people of Greensboro were saying they wanted and needed.
Thank you. Sunithia, same question for you. I know you're a week out from your plan being released, or 2 weeks?
Well, yeah, we're a couple weeks out, but
yeah, so same question.
when I started in position, started reviewing all of the things that were existing, Cities United had an existing relationship in the region, which included the city of Newport News. And just took time to engage with community and recognize that the young people are truly in charge, and those who have lived experience needed to have roles in leadership and provide guidance to us at the table. And so taking the baseline information and just being thoughtful, it's a process. And so making sure that as we were coming together in those sessions, we were offering virtual opportunities, in-person opportunities. We were meeting at different times of the day, different days of the week, and all across the community, just to make sure that we were inclusive and respectful of the experiences of those who've been impacted by violence.
Can you talk a little bit more about the Young Leader work, Sunithia, in Newport News, just for people that were less familiar?
Oh, well, everybody who knows me, you know what I'm about to say. Young people are my favorite group of people to work with, always will be, always have been. But we are very, very fortunate in the city of Newport News to have young people who, they're CU fellows, right? They're either CU fellows or they're young people that I worked with in another jurisdiction. And so they already had what they needed. They had the relationship and the respect of their peers. They understand this work wholly, and they do things thoughtfully. And so providing them with the space to lead and knowing that, they could look back and I got their back on this process, but they're okay, is just very, very powerful. And so as other cities look at engaging young people, invest in them. And then let them fly and know that everything is not perfect. We are not perfect as adults. But their voice and their leadership, I believe, is what makes a difference in getting a plan done the right way, implementing a plan, and accountability in communities.
And Letitia, that just made me think of the role that you've created in your office or your department for a young leader, if you don't mind, just kind of talking a little bit about Jeremiah's role in the city.
Yeah, sure. So we have a director of youth engagement, Jeremiah. I don't know if he's on the call or not. I know he's a student, college student, and he's probably in his books where he needs to be. But he is 18 years old. And we were really intentional about having a young person sit in the seat. And his role was to make sure that what we were doing was applicable to young people, because I may be young at heart, but I also know that there are things that they say, and I'm like, wait, what happened? What do you mean? Or how are we making sure that we're keeping their voices at the forefront of the conversation? And then I felt like it was important to empower Jeremiah to the seat of director, because that title means something. So when he walks into the room, he walks into the room as the director for youth engagement. And so when I talk about him and his role and what he does, he is my fellow director. And I acknowledge him in that space in that way, and then allow him opportunity to work with other young people in the community and really bring their thoughts to light.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And so obviously we've heard it a lot today that the Leading the Way tour is meant to highlight what's working. We were recently in Greensboro and we're heading to Newport News, and we know that, national recognition and national organizations kind of come with a lot, and we can bring both positive and negative to jurisdictions. And can you talk a little bit about what you hope to see when organizations like ours touch down in your cities? We'll start with Sanithia this time.
Thank you. I hope to see the community see their work being recognized at a national level by folks outside, right? I was hired to be a champion of this work and champion this work in the city, but it means something else to see it recognized for best practices, for thoughtfulness, for knowing that it's going to really make a difference and has already started to make a difference. I won't bore you with stats, but we're doing pretty good in Newport News as far as reduction in engagement is concerned. And I mean, even in some other cities in the region. When you all show up, the good thing about a partnership with Cities United is there are familiar faces, right? So when we started talking about this work and we were trying to get everybody on an even playing field and understanding that this is the way to go, it makes a difference. So the way CU folks show up virtually and in person, so to have Latoya present virtually and in person, and Kirby present virtually, to assure that I'm not just making this stuff up, right? Like, we want young people here, making sure that adults know to make that space. So when you all get here, I mean, there's not anything that I am not excited about. And I'm excited for other people to experience it. That's what I will say.
Letitia, same for you. I know we were already there, so it's a little bit of a backtrack.
Well, you know what I'll say, the biggest unexpected piece for me was the takeaway from the political will. I have always felt like we have a very strong political will here in Greensboro, but sitting at the table and listening to some of the questions, one, it allowed me to have conversation with leaders that had not engaged in this work previously. And they were, they reached out afterwards, like, I didn't realize this is what you all were doing. And I didn't see myself in this space, but this opportunity and the conversations highlighted where I can show up, where my district, which is impacted, can be very much so a part of the conversation, and how do I get more engaged. So it really gave me a great opportunity to have those conversations with leaders in a way that wasn't present before. And then being able to have people see the work that the city has been doing, and to understand that it's not just something that was fly by night type of thing. This is really intentional, and it has been, grounded and rooted within the city structure, and to be able to celebrate that in a way that was really powerful. So I was I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little frustrated at first because I was like, why they gonna cut up in this meat? Y'all gonna get, but at the end of the day, I was like, thank you, because it gave me an opportunity to really spin the block and say, oh no, you said this there. Let me show you what this really is. And to have them say, I didn't know. And now I see, and now I'm with you. So that was a positive for me.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think, one thing we want to make sure doesn't happen is that the tour stop isn't just a one-time thing, and then we don't actually take what we learn and help you through to like the next phase of the work. So thinking about kind of working from where you all are now and moving towards implementing your plans and sustaining them, what are some things that you all need from us as you think about implementation and sustainability? And I'll start with Letitia, since you fresh off the tour, and then I'll go to Sunithia.
Yeah, sure. I think for me, the important thing is just the checking in, the accountability. You all have a list of community partners that signed up for the tour and participated, and you're sending things to them as well. So it's not just, oh, this is just Letitia. One of the things that it aggravated me so bad, but people will say Letitia's plan. This is not Letitia's plan. And y'all know, I even had them chanting at the community dinner, our plan, because I need them to understand this ain't about me. But being able to have the work go out to them, not even coming from me necessarily, but being able to have you all involved allows for that space for them to say, okay, this really is something that I can be a part of, and there's no gatekeeping, none of the things that sometimes people will try to say hinder them from participating. Like, no, your name on the list, you getting that email. So
Go ahead, Sunithia.
Shout outs to Letitia for that. I think for me, the continued partnership. And so the ways in which CU has shown up for me in my entire career, and for the cities that I've worked with in my entire career. And so continuing along that trajectory. So continuing to engage and empower young people. We've got a good handful of solid young people here that are using what they learned from CU to empower the next round of young people. And so they worked and established a Youth Public Safety Council this summer, and it's really, really phenomenal, right? And then continued building and informing and providing guidance to local elected and appointed officials. And then as we did our plan for our goals and our action items, we had people bang out what this first year of action items were going to be in the strategic planning process. So as we do that, continuing to roll with us. And so again, the support received virtually, the support that we receive in person, excited about some things around healing. And so I am, if I have to go, pick up those who are in the 757 and bring them down here to help us out, I will, because they are good people. They know their stuff. And so we have to make sure that CU continues to stand beside us and walks in this journey with us.
Absolutely. Shout out to Kim and Latoya.
Yes.
So for
The
our
children's
final
day.
question, thinking about, you all have plans, which a lot of cities are working towards and counties. What is some advice that you have for other jurisdictions as they work toward kind of just getting to the point where they have a comprehensive plan? Start with you, Letitia.
Uh, keep going and just keep bringing it to the forefront. It's so important to have that city lead who is keeping it in the forefront. Just reminding folks, we're still working on this thing because as budgets change, as council priorities change, all of those things happen. But just making sure that you're reminding them that this is something that we are all working on together and that we've committed to doing. And then release the plan. Latoya kind of was getting on me at one point, like, and we got to keep going. It's not going to be perfection, and that's okay. And I'm so glad that I listened and that I didn't just try to hold it until I felt like it was absolutely perfect, because it's never going to be perfect. But it's always in a space for implementation and improvement. So now we've got room to grow, and I'm thankful for that. So keep going and release your plan and know that you will have room to grow by doing that.
Thank you. Sanithia?
Again, Letitia hit it perfectly. It's not perfection, but it's living documentation of a commitment. And so the commitment of a locality and the commitment of the folks who help develop the plan. I have been able to use CU stuff and CU coaching. So if you use it, it works. This is my second time around. The difference is the first time it didn't get released, right? But this time it was released. We were intentional. And if you're utilizing CU coaching or interested in it, that's what we did. We helped, we used the guides, we used the processes. And, I took this job. We're 15 months in and we have a full plan over, it'll probably carry us 3 years. But with our first round of work being done and our action items already in progress, because it's as Smith says, it's oftentimes a both and. But do the work and build it out. But get your plan together, because if anything changes in the jurisdiction, the plan holds people accountable. I think a shining example of why planning and why looking at interrupt, dismantle, and invest is important, and not just any single strategy. I'm thankful for CBI, but we saw last year, without having all of the other pieces wrapped around CBI, how much risk it puts us at in this community to look at how we continue to improve outcomes and reduce violence in our communities. It's got to be well-rounded. And so keep at it, use what's there, read the guides, get with the coaching folks, and you will get to a plan if you stick it out. It's not easy. I think Letitia and I both will agree on that one all day long, but it's absolutely worth it.
All right. Well, thank you both today and always. And thanks to everyone who has been a part of the Leading the Way tour. And we look forward to the remaining stops. And I think I am on time, and I will hand it back to, I believe, Anthony. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for that amazing conversation. And again, thank you for your leadership, Sanithia and Letitia. I think one of the things we got to recognize, and where we focus on young Black men and boys, there's a bunch of Black women leading this work, especially when inside of city government and other agencies, and the support is needed there is important. So we got to pay attention to that. You'll hear more from that with Arnita and Kim later around the work that they're doing with honoring the women in the work and creating space for women to come together to support each other, especially as we work inside of systems that are not really designed for us to be successful and moving in those systems. So again, just want to appreciate you all in that support. And we got a video that we want to share and show from our time on the ground in Greensboro. We're going to be able to get that. There it goes.
Gotta turn your volume up, Saren.
And release their comprehensive public safety plan. Around the country, we have been seeing large reductions in homicides and shootings. And so here we are here in Greensboro today, supporting the plan that has been released, their comprehensive public safety plan, and also the efforts that have been happening on the ground and in the Office of Community Safety.
I think we've been very intentional about making sure that we are able to work together. We've established roles and responsibilities, and we do a good job of talking to each other. It's not perfect, and it doesn't always work out the way that we anticipated, but we continue to come back to the table, and we're very intentional about maintaining the money.
Traditionally, everything has been on us. That called for every single thing. And we were the problem solvers for it all. And we're in the community to prevent crime. But I think law enforcement's overall responsibility is to be that connector.
Knowing that it's more simpler, like-minded people around me who are looking to make a change in the community and want to do better by our youth, seeing that our youth is the future. So if we're not attending to them right now, our future, we're gonna have a rough road ahead of us. So it's good that we're putting our energy and mindsets towards helping the younger kids. So our future is real bright ahead.
That's right. Option. Right there.
Somebody talking to themselves. Thank you for that video. And again, we have videos and video those places from all of the places that we've been to. I believe it's online. I'm actually looking out the window now. Y'all, Louisville's getting tons of snow, and we ain't even got the other 7 inches pulled away, but more snow is coming right now. But if you want to learn more about the tour, and I know there was questions around, can we get our city on the tour? The tour is coming to an end in January. In April, we already got the other cities selected that we're going to. We would love to continue to talk to folks about how you can engage with CU and what the work could look like. Toya, Alicia, and others would be, Latoya on our team, and Alicia would be glad to hear from you and talk to you. But again, we really are trying to take deep dives into the community. So when you come to us and want to partner with us, know that we're looking for a long-term relationship. We want to be with you. We want to be in relationship with you in the community for a long time. As you saw in the Greensboro video, it's not just one team that we're talking to, it's multiple folks who we're talking to. And we want to make sure we use that space for there. I want to turn it over to Courtney and Brittany to close us out, but really appreciate you all hanging with us on this call and all of the folks who have spoken and the presenters. Thank you for your time and energy. Back over to you, Courtney.
Thank you. We're going to throw it to Britt first for the sake of time. If folks have questions, go ahead and raise your hand. It's going to take us a moment to get to you, but go ahead and raise your hand so we can get you set up to talk in the background. But Saren, let's go full screen and go to slide 27, please.
Give us just a second, y'all.
Great. Why don't you go ahead and start talking about convening and we'll go from there.
Gotcha. Give me 1 second. Well, I think the slides are coming up. Let's see. Gotcha. Sorry, y'all. So, of course, defining the experience. So, to develop a concept for the 2026 annual convening, we're wanting to make sure that it is memorable, united, and purposeful, and highlighting the theme, seizing the moment, enhancing the public safety ecosystem. And then for our intentions for this year, when we're thinking through all of the programming for this year's event, we're wanting to make sure to celebrate the progress of Cities United's network, highlight Memphis's CVI ecosystem and public safety initiatives, showcase the work of our partner jurisdictions that we visited over the 2026 and 2025 through our tour, unveil our new Learn, Act, Lead framework, reaffirm partnerships and gain new connections, and amplify youth voices, redefine narrative and storytelling, and enhance elected and appointed officials' engagement. And to the right, you'll see there our save the date for our time in Memphis. So that's October 20th through 23rd. And of course, we've mentioned that there'll be a winner chosen from someone who remains on the call for the full length. And our winner has been chosen. If you will go to the next slide, Saren. It is Mr. John Jones. So John, we will follow up with you to get you registered for this year's convening. And if you were not chosen, of course, there will be another opportunity at each one of our roll calls leading up to this year's convening. And I'll pass it over to Courtney.
All right, Mr. John Jones, first you have to make sure that you are on the call. If you were on the call, John, please raise your hand or drop some information in the chat. Each winner does have to be on the call. John Jones, are you still on?
John Jones just raised his hand.
Perfect. All right, John, great. I just want to set the ground rules. So for incentives for everyone in the future, there are 8 more opportunities to win a free registration to the largest event. John, I think you might have came off mute. You can say hello. Are you excited?
Oh, yeah, for sure. What's the word, everyone? John Jones, coming from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Shout out to my sister Letitia, who made sure I got the invite to this, and also was the one who brought me on to my first Cities United conference. So this past year. So thank you, everyone, and that's dope. I'll see y'all in wherever we're going.
We are going to Memphis, Tennessee, October 20th through the 23rd of this year. We will send you an email later today with the information. So congratulations to you. And look at the power of the network. He just said Letitia told him about the call. He made sure he was on. So that is another incentive besides all of this great information. If this call was great to you as much as it was to us, please drop your favorite moment or piece in the chat. For everyone that asked questions or sent direct messages to any of us as hosts, we are keeping all of this information, but we will make sure that we follow up with you. As you can see, roll calls will be the 4th Mondays of every month. So please join next time, 4th Mondays of every month. You will get an email with the link to register. When you register one time, for the rest, you will be signed up for the rest of the roll calls that we have through this year. The only months that we are not doing roll calls will be October, because we have convening. We'll be together in person, and December to give a break for the holiday. So with that being said, we are so excited that all of you have been here. Anthony, I will throw it back to you. We know that we may go a bit over, but we know that we have questions from some folks. So if your hand is raised and you have questions, please stick around. But anyone that has to drop, take this as your closing. You will get the slides, you will get the resources. And Anthony, throwing it back to you.
Cool. Thank you, Courtney. Do we have any questions? Are there any questions in the room?
Erica Ford.
Erica Ford, what's happening? We're supposed to be on another call in a minute, so you can't keep me too long.
I see Dr. Kathy Tatum has her hand raised.
All right, Dr. Kathy, we will allow you to talk and you can ask a question. And Saren, for everyone that has their hand raised, if you can go ahead and have them have the ability to talk, and you can call each person because you see them on your side.
So I'm unmuted. So is it my turn?
Yes,
ma'am. Yes, it is.
Hey guys, I'm Dr. Kathy Tatum from Houston, Texas. Of course, you guys have heard me before. I was wondering, when you guys were talking about the different projects, would there be something on the site? Because I see sometimes when we're doing projects, people don't know that are part of this mission. Like, for example, I'm almost done buying a shopping center with $6.5 million. We are at the last 150,000. That will have you guys mentioned the mental health. My husband's going to do a men's mental health lounge. It has everything that's in there a conventional kitchen, solar, reentry program, and then we're also almost finished paying off a 60-bed traditional house. I would love to see something on the website when we are asking the celebrities and the athletes and everything that we're doing, that here, like say in Houston, hey, we need some electricians, we need some reentry, and you can see the projects on Cities United. So when you guys are talking about, hey, we need to highlight projects or what we're doing for the next year, we can go to it. Like if I'm in New York, oh, look, Erica's doing this in New York, or I'm in California, oh, this, I can see it on the calendar already, or what we're trying to build. So hopefully that I made sense. Thank you.
It did, Miss Kathy. And what I'll say to you is I would ask you to reach out to Courtney Scott. She's her and her team are putting together blog posts, and we would love to write a blog on the project that you're working on, and really then share that out with folks, right? So we probably wouldn't have just a space for those kind of projects, but the blog space would be it. And then whenever we can actually help highlight it on our social media, we'll love to do that as well. So if you don't mind reaching out to Courtney, and she can help you think through what that could look like. Any other questions?
Yes, I hope I'm saying this right. Ayana, you have permission to go ahead and ask your question. Ayana Ransom, are you there? All right, let's go to Margot Bryant, and we'll come back to you, Ayana, if you still have your question.
Margot, what's happening?
Smith, I have a writing excerpt coming up pretty soon. It's kind of off record, but it kind of is. But I wanted to know if I could write about you for Black History Month on my essay.
You can.
Okay.
Brittany replied, so you should have our email now. So hit me up with any questions you have, Margot. And it's also good to see you on the call. But whatever you need to get that project done, let me know. You're more than welcome. I would love to read the essay once you finish with it. But yes, that's a yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions, Saren?
Yes, it looks like she does have a question. She is going to drop it in the chat for us. Oh, she said she will be in attendance tomorrow in Austin. So
I will
it
see
sounds
you
like,
there. As long
yeah,
as
there
the
we
snow
go.
don't act the fool, I'm glad. Hopefully, I can get on my plane in the morning.
All right. Anybody else have any questions?
All right. Well, thank you all again so much. Congratulations to Mr. John Jones from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Spread the word. There are 8 more opportunities to win. 8 more opportunities to win with Cities United for the convening. Thank you to all of our panelists. Thank you to all of you for being here with us and sharing space. Tell a friend and tell a friend. We'll see you here again on the 4th Monday in February.